Hello again, this is Jesse with another Unboxing Board Games. This time we're going to take a look at a card game called The Impossible Machine, the game of impractical functionality. This game was designed by Brian Knudsen, and the graphic design has been done by Brent Knudsen, so a talented combination of brothers, hence the Brothers Knudsen label, design label on the cover. This is a card game about Rube Goldberg machines, and ever since I was a kid, I liked the Rube Goldberg art style, and I was thinking about how cool it would be to design a game around that theme. And when I saw this card game, I figured I had to give it a try because I really liked the idea of having a card game along this theme. And what I've laid out here is all 5 different colors of the cards. This game can be played from 2 to 5 players, ages 6 and up, and it's a quick game. It only plays in about 10 to 30 minutes, so says the box. What I've got here is all 5 different color cards. This is kind of a layout that's going to show you how the artwork of the cards fits together mechanically and also thematically. So in this case, we've got something is going to start the machine and pull this money bag up and break a glass, which will frighten the squirrel. He's going to drop his acorn, and it's going to fall down. And so we've got a down arrow here on the card. This is the output side. So we're going from left to right. So on the input of the next card, which has a down arrow, the acorn is going to drop down, hit the bell, awaken the eagle. Eagle's going to fly upward and pull up on this rod. So we've got an up arrow on the output. The next card has an up arrow on the input, and the rod is going to get pulled up, which will pull up the anchor, flip on the light switch, send electricity through the light bulb and out the circuit to the other end, where we've got an electricity symbol on the output. The next card has an electricity symbol on the input, which is going to turn on this boxing glove mechanism and send a push on the output. The input on the last card has a push, which is going to push this rod or push the globe off of the shelf onto the catapult, which will send the birthday cake flying to hit its target. And so that's an example of a Rube Goldberg machine. It's just, how many crazy steps can you build into the machine in order to do something that would otherwise be relatively simple. But that's not how the game is played. If we were to go through a 2-player demonstration, the first player would have a hand of 6 cards, and they would be able to place 3 cards during their turn. And so if this player were to start with this card, it's a set of dominoes that are all going to fall down when they're pushed from one side, and they have a Y split, so this card actually has 2 outputs. So the yellow player is going to start with this card. Now they have to pick another card from their hand that has a matching input, and so this is the card in the yellow player's hand that has a push. So those dominoes are going to push this record over and send the ball down the shelves and push downward on the output. Now I can either place this card near the top of the Y or the bottom of the Y, because the rest of the cards are going to form a chain off to the right along this split. So I'm going to just kind of use the bottom portion of that Y. Now, as the yellow player, I can put out one more card, and the output here is a push down or a push to the right. So I've got one more card that has a matching input where there's a push down or a downward force that I'll place here. Now I can't put any more cards out. I've put my 3 cards down, so I'm going to draw my hand back up to 6 cards, and it'll be the red player's turn. Now the red player has some interesting cards. You can see that they've got a domino card just like the one that the yellow player put out. They've got this special eraser card where they can place it on top of one of the cards that another player put out and take it away from the machine, and that would free up a place on the machine, or just eliminate scoring that another player would otherwise get when the machine is completed. You're going to get one score per card, except for these special catalyst cards. You'll notice the catalyst cards have a star on the output. Means that that's the result of the machine. That's the last step of the machine. So in our previous artwork example, we had the birthday cake being launched by the catapult, and that was the mission that we were trying to accomplish, so to speak. So this is a 2-point card, and it also sets the machine into motion once there's at least 4 cards out. So I can't put this one out first, but let's look at what the player has. This, like I was saying, I can't put this card out even though it matches. It's got this spinning circular motion on the input, but I'm going to have to hold on to that one. The eraser could come in useful if I wanted to take away any one of these cards, and I can even take away a card in the middle, but I've got to be able to join this output from this card here to the input on that card there. So I've got to have a card that does that same thing, which this player doesn't have. They've got, for example, a push, but then the output doesn't match because that's a push upwards as opposed to a push downward, which isn't going to match the card next to it. So I'll leave those out the way that is. So I can place this domino card out, and what I can do is I can place it in front of the other domino card, or I can place it on this side of the domino card, but that's not going to change the other player's score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little mean and place this eraser card and get rid of their dominoes and set these cards out of play and put my own dominoes in its place. Still can't play my monkey clanging the cymbals with this rotation here because I don't have 4 cards out yet. But what I can do is I've got a card here that will receive a push from the card to the left of it, so that'll fit nicely next to my dominoes there. Now that's the end of the red player's turn because they've used up 3 cards. You can see I have 3 cards out of my original 6 left, and so I'm going to draw back up to 6 and allow the next player to take their turn. So with it being the yellow player's turn, they can take these gears that are going to turn a fishing rod to raise the fish. So that's going to accept a rotation input, which will work off of this bicycle pedal to the left of it. I can place my pull upward motion with the light bulb and the electricity on the other side. I can either place that over here or over here. Now the difference being when the machine gets set into motion, we're going to be flipping over cards from left to right. And cards that get flipped over, that counts as scoring being locked in place. Those cannot be removed by other cards or even just moved around by inserts and stuff. So the further left that I place my cards, the more likely that they'll end up scoring. I can also place this card here that's going to push upward. It's going to get pulled upward actually by the fish hook and knock over this blender to spill the liquid on the cat, and the cat's going to wake up, hit the boot, and push upward. There's a split on this output here. So then I draw back up to 3 more cards, and it's the red player's turn. Now I can't play my catalyst card because there's no rotation outputs out here yet, so I have to come up with a way of making that happen. Or I've also noticed that I've got another new catalyst where I turn on a TV by sending electricity into the input. So there is a card like that already out here. But I think before I place that, I'm going to try to enhance my score a little bit by placing this extension cord. And there, now I've got a catalyst, which signifies that at the end of the next player's turn, the machine will be set in motion if that card is still out there. So the other player still has the opportunity to play like one of their erasers and get rid of that card and keep the machine from going into motion, but we'll see if they're able to accomplish that. That's pretty much it for what this player can do, because although there's some more electrical input, I can't really play it there because it's blocked by this other card below it. So that's one other thing, is that the Y splits can create situations where your cards are blocked. So I've only played 2 cards. I draw back up to 6. So now with it being the yellow player's turn, I've got an eraser that I can get rid of their card and keep the machine from going into motion. Or I can put my own catalyst down if I can work it into realm of possibilities. Let's see. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this card out that has a push upward, which I can put next to this here. That's one thing about this game, is that you can end up needing a lot of table space as the machine grows. But it can't grow too big. If you get 15 cards out, then the machine gets started in motion whether or not you have a catalyst. So with this new card that I placed out there, it's got a push down on the output, which will allow me to use this catalyst here. And then for my third card, I can just take away the other player's catalyst and set those cards out of play. Now, I've played 3 cards, so I've got to stop and draw back up to 6 cards. And you can see this game could start to go on for a while now, because this player has an eraser and I can just keep erasing the catalyst card that's kind of gotten off screen now. But just for example's sake, let's say that this player, they go ahead and play a few cards. And yeah, that looks about it as far as what they can do. If I'm going to forget that this person has a eraser card, just to show you how the machine gets set in motion. So you have a catalyst card that was placed out there by the previous player. So now at the end of the red player's turn, they're going to draw back up to 6 cards, and the machine will get set in motion. So starting from the leftmost card, it's going to get flipped over, which means that red has 1 point from this non-catalyst card. And then we're going to do columns. So these 2 cards also get flipped over, and these as well. So you do 3 columns at a time. Now, when the yellow player goes to take their turn, they're going to set as many cards out as they can, and then they're going to flip over 3 more columns of cards. So you can see that it starts to become more important to get your cards in to these leftmost columns in order to lock in your score for that machine. And play proceeds for a total of 3 machines, so you'd play 2 after this machine is completed. And that's pretty much how the game goes. So it's a relatively simple card game, but it's simple enough to where it could be a good, fun family game, especially if you've got any engineers in the crowd, or just people who like to look at all of the little details in these Rube Goldberg style drawings. And that's another Unboxing Board Games with Jesse. That's The Impossible Machine.